Peace, everybody. This is D Moss with my man Rob Jones.
Peace,
Um,
peace.
we outside, so we're just gonna kick it with everybody. Anybody who want to jump on and join that conversation, throw your comments, and if you really want to get down, then we'll send you a link and we'll just do what it do. Rob
Yes,
Jones, how
sir.
you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I've been getting hit up a lot about from fellas and a couple of women, but mostly fellas, just talking about, how do you get past a bad breakup, a bad relationship, and that had to be terminated for whatever reasons. It could be like what you mentioned before, ignoring yellow flags that turn into red flags, or green flags that turned into yellow that migrated into red, or green that went right to red, or infidelity, or just not a match. Maybe just moving too fast in some things, and using age as an excuse of, oh, I'm old, I know what I'm doing. No, not really. You really don't know what you're doing.
Back it up and tell us what you're talking about.
So recently had some
Tracy,
significant.
shout out. What's happening, Tracy? Go ahead, Rob.
Tracy had some changes in my status recently, and and I didn't put it on social media, but I just happened to be out and about a little bit more because I kind of disappeared. I was off the grid, and people were like, "Yo, what happened, man? I heard you were had an entanglement or something." And I said, "Yeah, I got untangled." and and what's crazy is everybody, it was relatable for everybody, right? Because a lot of people have been in long-term relationships, or short-term quasi relationships, and they're not in those relationships anymore. And, well, what did you do to get over it? What did you do to deal with it? I'm still dealing with it. I'm still either kind of talking to the person. I'm going through it. It's hitting me emotionally, mentally, financially. There's a spectrum of emotions, right? And there's a lot of podcasts out there. You got the red pill community, the black pill community, the green pill, the blue pill. Everybody has, a platform of which they're telling you, how you handle things, how should you go through things. And everybody's different, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's different, and I think
Hey, sis. Go ahead.
you, you can, I think you need to do what works for you. It's
Correct.
okay to listen to these podcasts and get different perspectives. Um, get a balance, kind of compare and contrast what you're going through, or if a certain ideology or theory works for you. Because a lot of these people talk, and it's in theories because they haven't applied it themselves in their own life, or anecdotal, they haven't applied themselves. Oh, we read this study, or we read that study. You got to remember, back in the day, there was, Pluto was a planet. Now it's not a planet. The food pyramid was gospel. Now we know that it's awful.
Okay.
So there's, you could always debunk something, but I think you just have to kind of go through your own metamorphosis. Um, for me, it was kind of like you mourn the loss, and you don't spend too much time on that. Then it's like a funeral. You mourn, you
Yep.
bury, and then you purge. And some people may
Say
say,
again, you
"Damn,"
born, you bury, you
and
purge.
purge. You mourn that person that's no longer with you. You bury them because it's over. It's a wrap. There's no going back. And then you purge that person out of your data banks.
Yeah.
Oh well, I mean, it's easier said than done.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
definitely easier said than done.
okay, I can agree with that. I mean, I can acknowledge that.
Okay.
But when you're going through the mourning process, you don't mourn just the loss. You got to be smart about it. You got to look at the pluses. You got to look at the negatives. you have to have a plan for yourself. Like, what are you going to do for yourself? Like, maybe it's something like step outside your comfort zone. Maybe it's something like don't repeat mistakes in the next relationship. Maybe it's something, um, you know, read more, exercise more, maybe rebuild yourself. Some people call it monk mode, but that monk mode seems to be extreme. Take 6 months off and just, well, I mean, 6 months, really? Maybe it's 4 weeks, two
Let me back
months.
up a little bit. When you're in a relationship that you think is positive, healthy, and productive, only to find out that everything's not what it seems. Is it
Yeah.
okay to be is it okay to be angry afterwards? I'm not saying that you're like the ultimate expert, but we've all been there. So is it okay to be angry? I mean, first thing you're in denial, like, nah, we can make this work. I don't believe you're leaving. This isn't happening. Second stage is anger. And some folks say, man, don't get mad about it. Just move on. Is it, I mean, is it cool to be angry once you realize this relationship is over? And,
Yeah.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, when someone says, man, don't be angry, move on, you got to look at that person like, I mean, have you ever suffered a significant loss? Because, like, those are words, right? But words are words. I mean, could you just, if you're with somebody and you had feelings for them, could you just be, don't be angry and move on? I think as people, I hate to use the term human beings, but as people with a wide range of emotions, that's just par for the course. And that's the mourning process, right? So,
Mhm.
the mourning process could just be all being mad, being upset, or it could be just being sad, or it could be, a variant of all those different emotions: sad, upset, insecure, vulnerable. What did I do? What didn't I do? Could I've done this X, Y, and Z better? But then once you get over that mourning process, right? Because you don't want to stay in that zone, because then that's good. That's debilitating. You don't want to get up. You don't want to work. You don't want to talk to people. You kind of like shut yourself out. You have to have that mourning time period, but you got to you got to move past that. If you need counseling, then get counseling. And I'm a huge proponent. If you're a black person and you need to get therapy, you go to a black therapist.
I was about to ask you, mental, particularly when it comes down to males in a relationship. A lot of people say, I had a young lady tell me the other day, well, guys get what they get because they play games. So yeah, they may get hurt, but it's more important to realize what a woman is going through. And I'm like, I get that, but there's
Mhm.
mental anguish on both sides. There's all types of emotional duress. Talk about that aspect in terms of how it impacts men and the lack of resources and supports. Because how do you go tell your boy, yeah, man, my relationship is over. Well, she had her own plans and that relationship is gone and she was with somebody else. It's like most dudes, they're worried about their ego. So they suffer in silence. They, sit home in the dark, watch Netflix all day and night, barely go to work, get enough energy to eat. Talk about that aspect of it.
Yeah, that's interesting because society is always depicting a man as being a rock or a pillar, and I would argue that men are even in a lot of instances even more sensitive and emotional than women, but we can't show that. Um, in today's realm of hypergamy, where which basically means women are with you until they find a higher option or a better option. You're a placeholder until they find somebody. If you're 5'10" and they want somebody who's 6'2", okay, you know what? You're a placeholder for that woman until she finds someone that's 6'2". Then she monkey branches off from that dude to a new dude. Now she's with the 6'2" guy, and then she goes, okay, I want somebody making six figures, which six figures isn't really a lot of money. And then she finds someone who's 6'2", making six figures, and she monkey branches over to that dude. Social media has really, really done a job um, giving women the impression and the appearance of all these options that they have. And they do. They do have a lot of options because that, there's men out there that will do anything just to get companionship, and that term is called simping. And more and more men aren't simping, but there's still a lot out there that are, and they're inflating these women's egos. And then you've got all the dating websites, stuff like. I've never been on a dating website. I've thought about it, but I've never been out on a dating website. I just put myself out there in situations and scenarios to meet people naturally and organically, because people still need that. They still need that contact. You can only hide behind a computer so long.
Right.
Um, but as a man, you need to do whatever you need to do to get your mind right and get that balance back. And if that's counseling, then that's counseling. If that's taking on a new hobby, that's taking on a new hobby. If that's focusing more on work, and making money, then that's what you do for the time being. If that's getting your physical set, then that's what you do. Like, for example, I was for years on diabetic medication, metformin, and I've gotten off it before because I've exercised and I controlled what I was eating. Because I mean, I love my cookies, I love my Reese's peanut butter cups, all that stuff.
Right.
And I said, you know what? Let me get back to getting back into shape and that aspect of my health. And I'm off the meds. And it's something, being consistent. My goal was 25 miles a week, just walking, which is 100 miles a month.
Yeah.
And, you get up in the morning, 4 or 5 miles before work, boom. And then you start getting a routine, and when you're on those walks, that's kind of cathartic, right? That's therapeutic, because you can go on those walks listening to music. You can go on those walks just in the silence of your thoughts and running scenarios through your head, and being able to decompress. Yoga, which is something that 5 years ago, I'm like, man, I ain't doing that mess. You know what? Yoga's pretty dope. So, stepping outside your comfort zone and doing things that you normally wouldn't do. Maybe if you have an opportunity to travel, then you travel more. You never want to go backwards, right? You always want to go forward.
Right.
So, with that in mind, think of the steps that you need to do to go forward.
But how do you move forward? In order to move forward, you have to show that you're vulnerable sometimes.
See that? Yeah. See, that's the problem. And I'm going to go on a limb and say that's the problem with men, because when a woman gets hurt, they might not forgive, they might not forget, but it hits different for a man, because we hold on to things a lot longer than a woman can hold on to things. Like, in infidelity, and I know, I mean, I'm going way back. When having girlfriends or dating or whatever, wasn't always the most faithful guy back in the day. I mean, you remember how I was at Southern. um and she knew, and she just kept taking me back and kept taking me back. But if that was me, that happened to me, it's like, it's a wrap. And most guys was like, if their girl's cheating on them, it's a wrap. And a lot of that has to do with the ego and the machismo, or not even machismo, just the ego. We just can't picture a woman getting dug out by some other guy. um and I'm not saying women can picture that, but they have a skill or a gene or something that could, they'll overlook it for a certain guy, right?
Hmm.
um but to kind of move past things and get, I don't think you ever get over, like, one of the things I say, and I say to myself a lot, because people don't need to know how you're moving, right? They,
True.
oh, you gotta forgive to get it off your chest. I'm like, number one, it's not on my chest. I don't forgive, I don't forget, I adjust. Like the old saying goes, smack me once, shame on you, smack me twice, shame on me. I adjust and I keep it moving. I'm fortunate enough to have some real strong friendships that were stressed, and I was able to get most of them back. Some of them are, just give me the middle finger. I was like, whatever. But most of the people, um, came, opened their arms and was glad to see me come back into the fray. But the move past it, you got to figure out what you got to do. Sometimes I call it the fetal position, right? Sometimes you got to get in that fetal position and just deal with the pain and the angst and the anger and the hurt, and then move yourself out of that fetal position as you're mentally and emotionally getting stronger. So when you're mentally and emotionally getting stronger, then now you got to physically get stronger. But one of the things, and somebody will probably say I'm a hypocrite on this one, but I'm gonna say it anyways. When you are getting out of an old relationship, to jump back into a new relationship isn't the healthiest thing,
Right.
because you're carrying all that baggage. Even though
Into
you're
the
like, I'm good, I'm straight. Nah, you're not good, you're not straight.
right.
And there's really no timeline for mourning, right? Or getting over stuff. You just deal with it and you keep it moving. But you're bringing that baggage with you onto the next relationship, and that's when you start talking about those green flags. At the beginning, everything's green.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes things are yellow at the beginning, but then we got to hold ourselves accountable for, you seen it. I didn't hold myself accountable. I saw it from the giddy up.
Right. They
It
said
was
there's
just like,
three signs that you can tell you in a toxic relationship. When you know it's bad, you see those flags, you know it's bad, but you stay. You want
yeah,
more for yourself, but still you stay.
yeah,
You know your emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual needs are never met by the person that you're with. But at the end of the day, you do what? You stay.
stay,
You
yeah,
continue to make all these emotional deposits into someone else's life. You're filling their cup up the whole time. Their glass is filled, and yours is still empty. And you stay.
yeah,
So it's kind of like, the anger. Sometimes the anger isn't because of the fact that that person is gone. They're angry because you invested so much. And by the time you went to pull all your deposits to make this huge withdrawal, there's absolutely nothing there.
yeah.
Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, sometimes it's interesting, and I can't speak for everybody else, but I can speak for me.
Mm-hmm.
When you haven't been in a relationship for a long time because you didn't want to be in a relationship for a long time, and then when you think you're ready to get in a relationship, and instead of moving slow and moving cautiously, you put your foot on the pedal and you just like jump in, you know, speed racer style. That's a danger. Um, because I didn't have yellow flags, I didn't have red flags, and I really didn't have green flags. I had no attachments. And I was explicit when I met a woman from the beginning, before anything went down, anything happened, before emotions or feelings were exchanged. It's like, look, I'm not looking for anything. We can kick it, and I'm cool with that. I'm single. I don't want a relationship, and I date.
Right.
And there it is. So if they decided to take it to the next level, then that was on them. Because there's the old phrase, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And I'd rather be damned if I do rather than the latter. And also, I know I'm dealing with women, mothers, women raising kids, and I don't want to mess with anybody or waste anybody's time. So so when I jump from that atmosphere to getting into a full-fledged relationship, that whole middle piece, that whole middle compartment, I overlooked, and I moved fast, and I made a hasty decision. But at the end of the day, you know, it was a good move to uncouple because it wasn't going to last.
Okay.
And like they say, 70 to 80% of um, people leaving relationships is initiated by the woman. Um, and women have the upper hand there than men do. And as a man, I would say, good riddance. Yo, let them go. If somebody doesn't want to be with you, don't be with them, because then you lose something. You lose a piece of yourself, and then you never have peace. One of the things they say that men covet the most, and tell me if you disagree, D, is peace.
Oh, absolutely.
Come into a house with peace, not having to um, coming home to confrontation and conflict. You know, men don't want that, and especially as black men, dealing just out in the real world, dealing with microaggressions all the time, having to put on masks, not being able to be your true self, and then to come home to no peace. That's the worst, and especially when you don't want to come home. I
Right.
didn't have to work as late as I did, and sometimes
When
I
you
was.
pull up and you sit in your car for about 30, 45 minutes just scrolling on Instagram or
Yo,
Facebook, watching
I couldn't
videos
do
on
that,
YouTube.
kid. I know what you're saying, but I couldn't do that because I pull up on my driveway, and if I'm just sitting in the car, then all of a sudden, what are you doing on the window? So I'd have to pull over on Main Street and just sit in the car, like mentally get ready and get prepared to go home. Listen, man, no relationship's gonna last that because what happens is, you build up an animosity and you build up a disdain for the person, and at that point, you just can't even fake it anymore. You
Right.
can fake it for a little while, but then you can't fake it. Women are very perceptive, and they know when you're feeling them, and they know when you're not feeling them. And a woman, and a woman will be like, "That's not true." But women get love from affection, from sex, um, from your presence. Those
Attention,
are some of, huh?
attention.
Attention. Those are some of the ways that they feel safe and secure, and they covet love, right? Um, we like the companionship, and also we like the sex. But when you don't even like the sex anymore, and you don't want to do the affection, and you don't want to do any of that other stuff, it's just kind of like you can't you can't hide that. And either you're gonna leave, which that's where I was heading, or they're gonna leave, which that is where it was heading to. But it's a good move. And I was dating some people, some real, some good women, but the timing was off. So, but I learned not to fit a square peg in a round hole. I'm not doing that mess anymore.
Right.
Um, Whereas I don't even know if I would say that I would have tried doing that to begin with. But I
And
gave
I
it the
think
old.
and I think sometimes you have to go back and ask yourself how you even got into that type of situation, how you got into that relationship. And I think that's the
Yeah.
key piece. Sometimes we end up in this cycle where we're constantly with all these crazy ass people. Like, well, why do I keep getting the same type? Why do I keep ending up in these types of relationships? And I was on the site that said there's 6 reasons why you keep attracting toxic relationships, and that's really what they are. You treat yourself with less value. You accept circumstances you don't really want. You sacrifice yourself and what you want. You don't really love or respect yourself. You hide who you really are. You haven't fully dealt with your past. So when you talk about, that baggage that people tend to carry from relationship to relationship, man, there comes a time when you have to self-assess and ask
Yep.
yourself, why am I even attracting these people? Why am I there? Sometimes it's because you're a really great listener. You're generous with your time. You're open, honest, and you're trusting with your dreams. You're really easygoing, the type of person like me. I let things just roll off my back and be like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna make the best of a horrible situation. We all gonna smile at the end of the day, anyways.
Hmm.
Your sunny disposition is just all inclusive. You're a great bridge builder. Your view of human nature is almost too positive at times, to the point where it's almost detrimental to your own health. What's up, Miss Owens Holmes? So sometimes we go, I don't know why this keeps happening, but we never take the time to stop and figure out, what is it about me that attracts certain types of people. I look at some of the friends I've had in my life. I'm like, why do I keep getting the same type of people? They're always coming with hands out and nothing else. I don't understand it. But go ahead, you were gonna say something.
Yeah, but then sometimes here's the other thing, right?
Yep.
Sometimes it's I don't attract toxic people.
Okay.
So sometimes you get hit once. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's some people that just do it over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah, that's not me. Um, but when you get hit with it, you get hit with it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's there's nothing. I don't get no immunity because I've avoided that for the most part. Because when I see it, I dead it right there.
Gotcha.
Some things weren't even able to manifest themselves because I was like, oh no, nah, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean. No, we good. We we good. I Tom Cruise, Last Samurai that mess. Um, but for those folks that like keep inviting that over and over and over again, that's an issue. That
Yeah,
you need some self introspection um,
absolutely.
on that. But sometimes people are really good at masking things, and
Yeah, but
sometimes
and
you don't
sometimes,
even want to believe it. Sometimes you just don't want to believe it. You know something's off,
mhm,
but you don't want to believe it.
right. And then sometimes it's your own insecurities, as the site was alluding to. Sometimes you don't recognize your own value, and it's some tragically, it's typically not until the end of the relationship where you realize, wow, this whole time she thought she was the prize, or he thought he was the prize, and you never actually see yourself as the prize throughout the entirety of the relationship. You're always walking on eggshells, trying to make things easier, make things better. So it's like, for all their flaws, all you know is, okay, I need to come in and prove that I'm not that type of dude. I'm going to make this work. I'm going to be a family man. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be loyal. I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to be that provider. But
Yeah, but you know
she's
what's
looking elsewhere. It's just, go ahead.
you know what's funny is sometimes you're in situations where they're trying to devalue you, trying to make you insecure, trying to break you down so that they're the only person that you rely on. And I know a lot of women who've been in relationships where they're constantly being devalued and then um, feeling worthless, and then they get out of that situation and then they get lost. But that mess didn't work on me. I mean, I'm still valued. I'm still secure. I'm still this. I mean, were there some kinks in the armor? Absolutely. But then when I had the time to reflect, and then as I started reaching out to people and finding things out and realizing certain things, I was like, oh man, yeah, nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, but you're one of those cats. It's like you got a strong circle of folks. I mean, you're real specific around about who becomes a part of your circle. We
Yeah.
have a strong. I mean, we got a lot of brothers out there. A lot of sisters. When we have a lot of brothers out there who don't have that strong support system, where somebody's gonna be on the phone with you and be brutally honest with you, like, man, bro, you effed up on that one, or come on, man, you didn't see this coming. She did A, B, C, and D. You didn't catch that, you know. And it's like, I think at the end of a bad relationship or a bad breakup, I think most people will the person who feels victimized, the one who gets left in a relationship, starts to question their own. I don't give a damn who they are or how much, what type of armor they got on. Everybody questions themselves at first, like, oh, damn, what did I do wrong? Well, what did
Mm.
I do? The first thing he says, well, what I do, I tried to do everything I could. What did I do? And then, if you have a strong support system, they're like, well, you didn't do anything wrong. We could have told you that was happening the whole time. And I'm like, well, why didn't y'all tell me? Well, we did try and tell you.
Yeah, and we wanted to tell you, but we knew
As
you
he
weren't
checked,
going to
I'm
listen.
good. Go ahead.
Yeah, or we wanted to tell you, but we knew you weren't going to listen. But you're right on that. But let me ask you this,
Yep.
and you're right. I've got a strong circle, and just going through what I went through proves that I've got a strong circle, right? Um, Everybody's got to have or should have at least one person could that they could get unadulterated feedback from. I,
Mm-hmm.
I've got too many, and sometimes it hurts. I think that's my armor. I think my armor was built up. I got Iron Man. Hulk busting armor because of cats like you and Lindsay and Brian and my boy Cameron and some other folks, my girl Jerry. Um, because man, they didn't hold back, but I also didn't hold back. So it was just like when you came into my circle, you had to have both fists up.
Yeah,
Um, but if a woman or a man doesn't have that honest feedback, look at look for somebody to give you that, and that might take somebody that you don't even know. That might take a therapist or a counselor or
absolutely.
somebody
If you don't have,
that doesn't have a penny in that nickel.
right,
That either way, there's no skin in the game for them, but they can give you some honest feedback, and you got to take it, man.
yeah.
Because those Flavor Flav people, yeah, get them.
You know what? I'm gonna put it together. If you've never had it, you don't just wake up one day and all of a sudden, okay,
Yeah,
somebody's giving me good feedback. When you've never had a support system, how do it's hard to even identify, especially after coming out of a bad breakup. It's hard to identify, and it's kind of like whatever. I mean, which is why a lot of folks, when we talk about um, mental health and men, particularly mental health in Black men, we're not really taught to be vulnerable or to go to folks or even let them know what's going on. I mean, in my lifetime, I've lost a good 4 or 5 friends to suicide after bad relationships. And
yeah,
the thing is, it's real. So it's never easy just to say, hey, Rob is giving me good advice. Sometimes I'm like, yo, man, great advice, man. I'm smiling the whole time, but I'm mourning on the inside. So I love when you said, you still need to try and find someone, even if it's a complete stranger. Find yourself a therapist because your mental health is one of them things you definitely have to protect. And when you're in a bad relationship, I mean, you watch every TV show, you watch the commercials, there's strong support systems for women. And then there are still some who don't have it. But we never talk about what type of support systems should be made available to men. I look at my dad, they were married for 52 years. If he was smart, may they both rest in peace, he should have divorced my mom back when they were in their early 20s.
yeah. Well, you know what? That's
You
funny
know,
you say that because my grandmother and grandfather were married, and I think I was in junior high when they got divorced. And that was during a time where you didn't do that.
right,
I mean, you stuck it through. But one of the things you said about, and I'm gonna give some shout outs to some folks. There's Abdul Muhammad down in People's Clinic in Hartford. There's Arthur Cash. It's got a practice in East Long Meadow. Um, there's the African Diaspora spot over on State Street. I know Tamara Crenshaw
that's
does
my
some
girl.
good
She's the
work.
best. Call her.
Yep, Tamara Crenshaw. I know my girl Karen Polk does some good work. And listen, um, and there's a lot of other people, and all those people I mentioned are black. I don't care what you read in the book. I don't care what the DSM says. How many letters you have to after your name. If I'm talking to someone, they got to be black because there's certain things and certain nuances and certain cultural things that you're not going to get from a book. You're not going
Right.
to read from a book.
Cultural
And
competency
yeah,
is critical.
and it's totally unrelatable. I don't care how much hip hop you're listening to, but and plus we got to feel like we're in a safe space and not being judged. We'll never judge you. Okay,
Khadija
but
to it. Thanks, Desi. But
yeah,
yeah, I
so
mean, there's some great sources out there. I just want to add a few things, Rob. You can chime in just for folks if you don't have that. I think the most important thing is before you jump into a relationship, man, learn to love yourself first. And I think Rob said that earlier, alluded to that earlier, anyways. You gotta be familiar with yourself. You have to know yourself, love yourself first. Otherwise, you'll never find someone to love you the way you do. Understand what your expectations are going into a relationship, set your perimeters, and stick to it. Because when you get to the point where you constantly find, everything you love about yourself being violated, verbally, emotionally, listen, man, it becomes a problem. It's like a sore, it's just fester. They said there's 15 ways to love yourself and know your worth. So if you're dealing with a major breakup, and we all go through it,
we're all go
learn to
through it.
have fun by yourself, man. Get with the people who love you, who got you. but learn to have fun. Go see a movie by yourself, laugh, talk to the screen, talk to yourself, and enjoy yourself. Whatever it is you may
Yep.
do, whether it's a play, a basketball game, or whatever, find something. Whatever you're into. If it's church or the hall or the mosque, whatever you learn to do it by yourself. I don't care what you're into. Just find something that you enjoy doing by yourself. Travel. Get up out your house and take 400, 500, 2,000, whatever the case, and just travel. Go somewhere, man. Travel at least once a year by yourself and just enjoy life. Robert's gone. Forgive yourself for your mistakes. We all make mistakes. We all have we're all prone to making bad decisions at times. So it's kind of like learn to forgive yourself for your bad decisions. Start a journal, document things. Journal, man. Just keep track of what you do, who you are, where you going. Rob, I can't hear nothing you're saying. Your mic is off. Rob, we can't hear you. All right. Your mic is off. All right, so make a list of your accomplishments, or maybe mine is. Make a vision board, pursue new interests, get out of your comfort zone, challenge yourself, give yourself credit for the good things that you do. That's critical. Give yourself credit for what you do. Work on self-trust, stop negative self-talk. Don't always down yourself, don't always kick yourself, love yourself, lift yourself up. Rob, I can't hear you. I don't know what he's saying. Give us a second. Technical difficulty. I don't know what he did to his camera, but his mic is off. If you're out there listening, if you can hear him, man, just leave a comment. Let me know if you can hear what he's saying. Because he's on a long tangent, and I have no idea what he's saying right now. Okay, so Ty's back. What's happening, brother? So you can hear me. All right. I don't know what Rob is saying. I can't get his attention to let him know, what's going on. But we were talking about, for folks who joined us late, we're talking about how to heal yourself or how to recover from a bad relationship. And everybody goes through it. So Rob has he looks like he's still going at it. But Rob has some really good things to say. And yeah, wish I could hear him because he's on. Rob, if you can hear me, fix your mic. Can't hear you. No. My apologies, everybody. He's trying to get his camera, get his mic on. And he was on a roll. So, but again, we're talking about relationships and how to recover from a bad relationship. So, look, my name is D Moss. I have about 5 more minutes left. Normally, we're here with Malay. Malay couldn't join us tonight, and that's cool because Rob Jones stepped right in, and hopefully he'll step right back in again. And every week we said we're going to come in for the next couple of weeks and talk about different aspects of relationships, the good, the bad, the ugly. There are so many things that we deal with. We want to talk about what happens at the end of a long-term committed relationship where there's, child custody disputes, where, property may be at risk. How you doing, Rob? You on?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yo. No?
So we talked about a lot of things today, and again, we'll be back next Monday. Not sure. I know there were some great topics. Folks on the sideline saying they had some things that we're going to talk about, and we're definitely going to talk about that. We had it documented, but we had already scheduled this. Oh, somebody said they can hear you, Rob.
Oh, they can hear me?
Maybe it's me. I can't hear anything. Um, Rob, say something.
1 2 1 2. Mic
Here
check.
we go. All right, man. You was on a long tangent. You was going, and I have no idea what you were saying. So you might want to
Oh
repeat yourself.
man, I know. I was talking about what you said, reinforcing what you said in terms of being comfortable within your own self. Because back in the day, I was myopic. That's a shout out for Richard Griffin because I always like using that term because he's myopic. I hope you listen to Richard. Thinking that women can't be alone. They're the ones who can't be alone. They got to go from one man to the next to the next. But I know a lot of dudes that do the same thing. 'Cause, they can't be alone either for various reasons. And I think being comfortable in yourself and in your own skin is important because if you just start monkey branching from one cat to another, you're bringing all that baggage in whatever relationship you're trying to grow or whatever you're trying to do. It's destined to fail, and then you're not growing as a person. And then the other thing I got from a colleague of mine is he said, create a list of things that
Mm.
you want in a woman. And the list can't be some Morris Day, 34, 26, 36, 24, 36, all his songs from the time. I've got things like being able to feel safe around somebody who's agreeable and compromising, someone that's nurturing, someone that's a go-getter. And I hate to use the term feminine because that's an overused term and people's, it triggers people. But I'm not, when I say feminine, I'm not meaning like some woman who's just going to listen to everything I say because that's not what I'm about either. But they're not superficial things. They're not really based around looks because I know what I like and what I'm attracted to. They're more based on character. When we look at character, one of the things, honesty, loyal, integrity. Um, some of these things that you can find out right away, and other things take some of these characteristics take time for you to find out. Um, but if they're not showcasing those attributes or those characteristics, then they got to go. And it doesn't matter how bad they look, how good they look. Um, I got a request on Instagram today, and I got a Facebook request the other day. Two different women. Um, one was sitting on the sink, duck lips, booty popping. No, because it's like and she may be an awesome girl. Maybe she might be influenced by what everyone else is doing, but it's like, nah, that's not. I'm not. Another one, the prison pose when you're, down, doing. I'm like, yo, really? That's that's like some club spot in New Haven. When you're taking pictures in front of the mural. You know what I'm saying?
But sometimes they're just having fun. So you really can't. I don't know. I don't know
Uh,
if I can assess somebody's character by a picture. But let me say this. Judy Owens Holmes, what's up, sis? She says, you had said something earlier. She says, definitely not true. When a woman realizes her worth, she can go it alone. And there are women who can, without a doubt.
yeah.
Ty Carter said, when you talk about the list, he says, I've done it knowing that I needed time for myself. You just go it alone until you can figure it out. Um, but there's things that it's kind of like what I would like to see happen is people talk about how they made it work and how they survived the storm so that they can, go on to enjoy their lives. And I think this is where we're at right now. And these are conversations that we typically don't have because they're typically taboo and we end up
Yeah.
arguing over something, and then we'll go in different directions. And I think folks need to learn how to survive trauma. And trauma isn't necessarily getting shot. Doesn't mean you have to get stabbed. Trauma can be it's just a bad, bad, bad experience that just leaves you feeling like you've been shot. And we have to learn how to heal from that. We have to learn how to let people go. They say if you love someone, let them go. If they come back, then you know. If they don't, if you really love them, you just want them to be happy, going to live their lives. That's my thing. I'm like, just
Yeah, I
go
gotta
be happy.
disagree with that.
I'm listening.
If they go, they're gone.
Okay.
And sometimes some people gotta be gone. Um, I can't sit here and tell you that. where I've had to let go of people that I let them go. Um, you know, but in certain scenarios or certain situations, like my current situation, that mug is gone. And listen, I'm in a better place. I'm
Mhm.
good. I'm good with how everything went down. Um, and I know people hate this phrase. It is what it is, dog.
So I'm gonna go back. My man, Mr. E, what's good, bro? Says, why would you want to go it alone? We were made to have another half. You know,
And you know what? And he's right. He's right. But you gotta find the right half. You know what I'm saying? If you got a sandwich and the top piece of the bread got mold on it and the bottom piece don't, are you gonna eat that sandwich? That's a dumb analogy, but I'm hungry, so that's what my mind was at.
listen, it's 9:59. We are out of here at 10. I want to thank everybody for joining this conversation. For the folks who just watched and listened. Hit my box. Let me know if you're digging it. Let me know if you have suggestions, things that you didn't want to shout out on the comment section, but things you were hoping that we would address. Feel free to inbox me. Feel free to email me. DarylMoss@gmail.com. Let us know what's going on. We're gonna be here every Monday from 9 to 10 p.m. And we're gonna do what it do because we
Yeah.
have no choice. It's about making sure that our community is healthy, make sure that our families are standing strong. And it's not all
Word.
bad stuff. There are a lot of positive relationships and a lot of positive aspects of who we are culturally. And we're gonna
Yeah.
talk about that too.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob.
Listen, I know a lot of people that are in some dope relationships, and to go back on E, he's absolutely right. When you find somebody and that they're dope, dude, sky's the limit. When a man's with the right woman, that enhances and increases the value of the man. When the woman's with the right man, that enhances and increases the value of the woman. And when you talk about building together, then that's exactly what you do because it's innate. It's not contrived, it's not coerced, it's not forced. It becomes natural. So, yeah, when you find that, cover
Hold on.
that.
Yeah, cherish that. I'm gonna shout out Laconia and Justin Yard, my favorite couple. Y'all keep doing what y'all do. I dig y'all. My man, Mr. E. We never stop the newspaper. For the Springfield version, we're online, themetrorecord.com. We also have one down here in Georgia called westgeorgiapost.com. If you want to write, we're more than happy. We're always looking for writers. Let's get it in. Hit me up. You got my number, call me, or I'll just inbox you or give you a call. Ladies and
No,
gentlemen, it is
hold
10.
on,
Go ahead, Rob.
hold on. You got an event coming up. Talk about that event right quick.
We have an event. Chocolate Vinyl coming up this Saturday. If you happen to be in Atlanta, Georgia, spread the word to all the Atlanteans. Let them know that we have Chocolate Vinyl coming up. Mr. E, if you're gonna be in town, come hit that microphone. It's live band. My boys, my family, my little brothers, Dro and Trevor Pitts are flying all the way down here
Oh,
vibe with us. So it's gonna be lit. MBS Malay, Poetic Soldier, a few others from Springfield, Hartford area will be down here down in Atlanta, and we're gonna get it on. It's gonna be dope. So with that being said,
I can't wait to come down.
can't wait to get you down here. It's 10:01 p.m. I ain't gonna keep y'all. I appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We love you. It's all love. Holla at me. We out.
Yes,
Peace,
sir.
everybody.
Later.